Hey, I'm Heather Persansky, life and business coach and founder of Step Up Society, and I wanted to come to you with a message today around we see a lot of posts on social media that say, don't do this, and they're really strong voices, and they are very determinant, don't cold call people, don't post this, don't use automatic tweets, don't do this, don't do that, right? Don't automatically add people into your group. Don't automatically send people a request to like your Facebook page. Don't do this. And then you see so many other people who are like, you should send out requests for people to like your Facebook page all the time. You should do this. You should do that. And it can get really confusing and the wires can get crossed. And here's the message, right? I recently sort of got to thinking about this because one of my blogs that I wrote this week was all about, or maybe even last week, I don't know, recently, was all about building culture on your social media and some do's and don'ts to do that. And I kind of thought, well, if I'm going to say do not use automatic replies, how is that going to make people feel? Because oftentimes, we do things and then we see an article that says don't ever do this. That's really bad. And it can kind of make us feel like shit, right? But here's the thing, that one right there was all about building culture. And yeah, sure, it's pretty hard to build a culture within your social media following if you're using automated replies when somebody, let's say, follows you on Twitter and you automatically reply to them and, to send it for your freebie or whatever it is. Now, but the other side of that is, some of my friends that I have in the business who have great Twitter followings. I'm not a big Twitter user, totally guilty of this. I'm going to start tweeting more often because it's been an important part of my media outreach strategy lately. So I need to get on that because my Twitter game is not on point. All right, my Twitter game is in the toilet. But anyways, I was speaking to one of my friends and she said, she grew a following of 14,000 people in just a matter of months. And she said that she uses the automated replies. And I was like, oh, I don't really like when I get those. So I don't know how I feel about that. And she was like, well, you know what? It helps me to grow my list. And so I don't worry about the messages that kind of come my way who are ew. I just worry about the fact that it's growing my list. And I use it as a little bit of an automated qualifier. And so the cool thing is that all of these people out there saying don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, right? You're going to be able to find examples of other people where they've done it and it's worked really well for them. So here's my advice to you. Do what feels good for you. Think about how you would feel on the receiving end of something like that, right? I call people all the time on Facebook and I leave voice messages for them. And some people are like, ew, I feel like that's cold calling. And to me, I'm that's not cold calling. It's not I'm calling you at home and you're eating dinner and I'm trying to sell you shit, right? I'm just calling to connect with you and to get to know you better. And sometimes there's referral opportunities. Sometimes there's opportunities for us to work together. Sometimes there's opportunities for us to do a joint venture partnership. Sometimes there's no opportunities and we just get to put a voice to the face on Facebook, right? So, but there's going to be people out there who say ew, don't do that, that's gross. Or ew, you shouldn't do that because blah, 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 and have this big old reason and this justification for why you shouldn't do something. But that goes back to what we've been kind of talking about in that, your job is really to just keep taking action, keep taking action, keep taking action, and to voice out or to block out the voices of the people who are trying to hold you back and giving you resistance, because those people are usually stuck in average. They're not willing to do the work possible to really make things work, and they'll tell you why it's wrong, right? They will tell you a million times why you shouldn't be posting to Facebook 8 times a day, right? Where you can find a million experts who say you should be posting to Facebook 8 or 12 times a day. And they'll be like, oh my gosh, you should only post once a day, right? I've tested it out for my own business and I find that 8 times a day is the perfect time for me to be posting to my Facebook page. We get the most engagement, we get the most reach. Really Facebook engagement has been dropping like crazy. So we've been looking at our reach numbers and trying to reach as many people as possible. We're trying to get more video views, things like that. So, you need to figure out what works for you and your business, and you need to kind of block out the you have to do this, you have to do that, the message of other people that are trying to hold you back, or other people that are stuck in their stories and they're like, I once had a person do this. So I actually once had somebody invite me onto a connection call, and we connected for 10 minutes, and then she tried to sell me, and I was like, oh, right. And she tried to sell me on like weight loss products or something. And I was like, never said to you I wanted to lose weight, never said to you I wanted to do any of this. She just assumed that, I would be interested in this product and tried to sell me. And so when I was talking to my coach about wanting to connect with more people, and she said, well, why don't you just get on the phone with people? Like, why don't you just invite them into connection calls? I had this big block around that experience. And I had written that story that like I was going to make people feel like this person made me feel within this call, right? I was going to make people feel shitty. And yet I've done these connection calls and I made so many wonderful connections, and we've had so much opportunity that has sort of come from these places that it's been wonderful. I mean, like, geez, I've rewritten my story, right? So that's really what it's all about. So I wanted to come to you guys today and just sort of encourage you to do what feels good for you, right? Stop listening to all the noise. Stop listening to the people who are like, oh, like, oh my God, never do this because I will immediately block you. And it's like, cool, you're not my people, or, and I've definitely done this. I mean, I hate when direct salespeople come to me and try to recruit me to their team when clearly I'm not looking for a direct sales opportunity. I mean, I'm working really hard on my business and I'm growing my business, and that's how I'm showing up in the world. And so I get perturbed, I get annoyed, and I've definitely been guilty of writing these posts where I'm like, don't ever do this, right? It's kind of like ranty. But at the end of the day, all that does is it sticks stories in other people's heads, and it holds them back from getting out there and doing what it is that they need to be doing in order to create success. And so if you're not already a member, you need to join Step Up Society. It's weekly coaching and mentorship for less than a cost of a Frappuccino a day. It is extraordinary. And you are going to be able to master your psychology, master your money and your wealth. You're going to be able to master your happiness, master your business practices. We're going to work on things like this, like it's not about what's right and what's wrong, but it's about finding your own path, and we're helping you to create your own path to business success. Recently, we've been doing a lot of really great funnel training that is unlike anything you guys have seen out there. It's not just like email autoresponder funnel. This is like the entire funnel, not just like that small little piece of it, right? So you're going to get really in-depth training inside of Step Up Society. HeatherProstanskyCoaching.com/Step Up Society.